Stelios, thank you so much for joining us on One Cap Wonders. First question, as we always do, and we're just talking about the rain. Tell me a little bit about where you grew up and how that kind of defined who you are.
I was actually born in London. I'm half Cypriot, half English. I moved to Cyprus when I was 3 years old, and I grew up in Cyprus for the majority of my years. I lived in Cyprus.
And was football always on the cards, or was there something else that you would have ended up doing? Like in this series, Chris Sutton told me he had a job as a civil servant, and that could have been his career path. He could have been working in Norfolk or Norwich, in the offices for years. And other people, Jim Goodwin, who's also in this series, mentioned how he probably would have gone on to become a school teacher. So, what if was football always for you, or was there something else?
Listen, I'll be honest. When I was a kid, the only thing I had in mind was football. So I was crap at school. I didn't study at all. Uh, it came to a point that if I didn't play football, I would have a 9 to 5 job. But it's normal. Lots of people have it. It's a normal whatever. But I wasn't good at studying or anything. It wouldn't be office work. When it came to the age when I was 18, I started in Apollon Limassol Academy.
Okay.
At the moment, they were the best academy in Cyprus. Now they're miles off of it. Anyway, I got released when I was 18. I was the captain of the under 21s. I got released and I had to drop down in the leagues. So I was playing for a year and a half. I was playing in the fourth tier in Cyprus for a year in the fourth tier. And I
Wow.
was part-time. I was working at a coffee shop for a bit. Then I was working in clothes shop selling clothes. The good thing is that in 2 seasons, I managed from the fourth tier to make it back to the top tier. I played 1 year in the fourth division, got promoted to the third, got a move to second division, and then moved back to the top league. And that was it. I was quite lucky because lots of players that drop down the leagues in general, it's it's difficult to wake your way up to the top again.
And what do you think drove you to make that journey back? Because you are right, I've met football players all over the world. And once they drop down in the US, in England, it's very, very hard to, I suppose, have the determination, the drive, the self-belief to get back.
I'll tell you that honestly, like how it is over, especially in Cyprus, the academy fundamentals are not great. So not many players that grow up in the academy in Cyprus are ready to step into a first team and especially in the first division.
Okay.
So you see, even in Scotland and different countries in the UK, all the youth players, they go on loans. They go on loans, they see their progress and all that. They progress, they develop as players. Over here, the structure of the academy is a little bit behind. That's why Cyprus, if you see in general, it's one of the countries in Europe that has the most foreign players in the league and the less players playing in the league. And that's the reason why the national team is going down and down because the Cypriots players are not getting game time. So what made me make it up my way, I think, is that it was my only option.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you
My
didn't want to be
farm,
in you didn't want to be in a coffee shop 2 days a week.
yeah, I was going to tell you, like, I come from my family is not rich. They didn't have the money to send me to university or college or whatever. They grew me up perfectly, but I had the hunger to. I wanted it a lot. I worked a lot. I was always the player that was 2 hours early in the training ground, 2 hour, when I was in the youth of Apollon Limassol. And it was my only option. I knew that I had to play football or I had to go down another road in normal jobs that I didn't enjoy doing. But sometimes you have to do something that you don't enjoy. But I pushed it. I was lucky because you need luck. I remember the first game I went to second division team. The first game of the season, I was on the bench, and the national team under 21 coach passed. And I asked these guys, he was saying hello to a few players. Who's this guy? He says to me, it's the under 21 coach. I said, oh, okay. I thought he didn't come here to see me. I came on by accident I was playing as a winger back then. I came on by accident, after 20 minutes, a midfielder got injured. They pulled the left winger in. I went inside. It was 0-0. We won 5-2. I scored 3 goals and I gave 3 assists.
Wow.
And that game just changed my life. I got called up directly to the national team. That day, there was a scout of the first division team there. He saw me and it all changed. And it was a bit of luck. If he didn't never got injured, if the national team coach was never there, it might never happened. So I'm saying to always like sometimes careers is just timing, luck, coincidence, and all that plays a bigger part in it.
And when you say the national team, was it the under 21s that you were called up to at that point?
Yeah, at that point, I was at the under 21s and I went and I was a starter. I played all the tournament. We played tournament under 21s. We actually done well for the teams that were in our group. Okay, very good experience. Played with Germany. A lot of big names were playing. The Gudogan, Holby was playing. There was a lot of big names playing. It was good experience and everything, but they destroyed us. I won't, but okay,
And
that was it.
was the plan always to get to the UK, or were you open-minded as to where your career took you in your 20s?
Listen, I had this ambition always from a young age that I wanted to play football in the UK. And I done my first attempt when I was 21, a little bit later than when I got back to the first division. I played my first games in the top league. My team got relegated that I was playing for. And I had this opportunity to go to Swindon Town
Okay.
down south. I went there. It was a trial. Trials most of the times, it wasn't like a proper trial. It was one of those like 10 players, bring them in, 2 training. If you do well, you're done. It was one of those.
Yeah.
And anyway, it didn't work out. I went back to Cyprus. I played in a I played, I went, then I tried Bulgaria for a bit, Sweden for a bit. I came back to Cyprus. And how UK worked out was kind of a weird one. Like I was in Cyprus. At the moment, the league had a lot of problems. Like even now they have, but not such a big point with salaries. Players don't
Okay.
receive the salaries on time.
Oh,
You might be 3, 4 months without salary and stuff like that.
okay.
Uh, Back it was 2016. The problems were massive. Now the PFA over here have sorted out the things. It doesn't happen. It might happen a bit. You might be delayed, but not 3, 4 months. At the time, I was in the top division team and I was 3 months behind in salary.
Oh,
So I sat down with my missus and I said to her, like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I can't be like struggling financially and they want me to be in training and all that. I'm going to leave my club. She says to me, you haven't got any options. Find an option and then. And I said, I don't care. I'm not happy. I'm going to leave. So I went and spoke with the club, got released. I didn't have anything. I was training. It was mid-January and
oh, wow.
I
Nothing.
had nothing. And I had this ex-teammate of mine that played for Hearts. I don't know if you remember him, Ruben Balazuelos.
I remember the name. Yes.
Yeah. He was, I met him in Bulgaria when I played for Lokomotiv. He was playing for the local rivals, Bodev Plovdiv.
Okay.
So I met him in the hotel by accident. We keep in touch and everything. And by the way, I helped him to come to Cyprus a few years later in my club. And when I was going to leave this club, he says to me, I've got this agent in Scotland. I know him. He brings me in touch. Says to me, I've got this opportunity for you. It's St Mirren. Do you want to come in and train with them for a few days? I said, nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose at all. Why not?
Yeah, I got on the plane. I came. And after 2 days, I signed the contract. And to be honest, it was the best choice I've done in my football career.
Oh, well, there you go. It's weird how life takes you in strange ways, isn't it? Strange
Yeah.
directions.
Yeah. I never thought that I would end up in Scotland or whatever. And I was older. I was 26 when I came, 27 when I came to Scotland. After one age, you think, if I didn't go abroad now to the UK, I would never go. But that moment, St Mirren was in difficult position too. They were looking for players desperately and stuff like that. And it worked out perfectly. And I said to you, it's the best thing I've done. Not only that I've experience wise, work wise, I met a lot of people that I still have contact with, really good friends, and I enjoyed my footy the best.
And what was your reaction from your family when you said you were going to Scotland and that was it? Were they a bit taken aback, or were they shocked, or were they happy for you?
Nah, nah, nah. My missus, she's always been with me. Like even when I moved to Scotland, I think the first year because I only had the 6 months contract when I signed. She had a good job. She says, you're not going to quit your job. Just, I'm going to go over. If it works out and I'm staying next year, then you can come. And then I
Yeah.
renewed my contract for another year and she came over. She's always been with me wherever country I went to and stuff like that. Even now, her job, when I moved from Scotland, I moved down south to England. She found a job and she still has a job and she works remotely from Cyprus and she loves the job. So following my career, she bought her first steps of her career and she's building her career. So it works out for everyone.
That's really good. And
Yeah.
looking back over your journey and your journey to Scotland, what were some of the high moments for you, and what were maybe some of the low moments for you?
Yeah, listen, my highest moment was when we managed to survive with St Mirren and stay in the league. That when I was signing for St Mirren, my friends and some agents over here that were looking for other clubs said to me, "Why are you going to? They're getting relegated." We were 14 points from survival,
Oh, wow.
14, and I managed to speak with the manager on the phone before I went and said to me, this is this. We're going to sign players. We're going to stay up. And he made me believe the process. If someone, they were taking me for crazy over here, like, the teams get relegated. You're going to get to play League One like next year. And I said to him, at the moment, a few days after, I had options, but I said yes to them. I went for a trial. While I was on trial in St Mirren, I had another agent that I had contact in Scotland. He wanted me to go on trial with Hamilton. They were in the Prem at the moment. But in the end, I said to him, "I'm here now. If it doesn't work out, maybe I'll come." And the next day, they offered me a contract. I said, "I'm here now. I came. I gave my word to the people. I'm going to stay here." But yeah, and winning the league was another high moment. There's a few high moments, I think. Survival, the great escape that they call it, the St Mirren fans call. Winning the league, putting the team back in the top league. Okay, the other thing was when I got released from St Mirren, that was a thing that I didn't really expect because when you're in a team that stays in the league, survives and how it survives, next year you get promoted and you play a majority of 80% of the games you start. Yeah, and then you've been said by the manager that, oh, listen, we're not going to keep you. It disappoints you, but okay, it's part of the game.
But you still managed to keep playing in Scotland, which was a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I managed. I went up to the Highlands for a bit, to be honest. Yeah, it was a good move in the end because Ross County's a good club. But it's a bit difficult in the Highlands in general. You see a lot of people don't manage to settle down up there, say so. So this opportunity in January came for me to move down south to England. That was always my ambition. Came up and I went for it. I went for it and it worked out perfectly because my missus had family local. So we moved down to family and to a level that I wanted to try the English Football League a go. So in the end, it did work out one way or another. Okay, that's another low thing that it was weird. It's a weird situation. The club was in. I left Cyprus for the reasons of financial not getting paid, and I went to the UK and I had the same problems
Well,
with
that's
the
not.
Macclesfield.
Oh, Jesus. So
Yeah.
it was like this thing was like a curse almost.
Yeah, and in the end, Macclesfield went to liquidation. They went to bankruptcy, and they started again. That's why they're playing in the lower leagues now because financially they didn't last.
And along this journey, you got the call to come to the national team. How did that happen? And tell me a little bit about your journey when you're capped for your country, because for a lot of people, it's something that they're very proud of.
Yeah. But listen, it was, I think it was, yeah, when we won the league with St Mirren, I got the quote. To be honest, earlier in my career, there were some points that I deserved to be in the national team again. But for my luck, in my position, the players that played there were playing at better level or bigger clubs, and it was full always in my positions. But okay, when I won the league with St Mirren, there was some players that were injured. It was end of the season, friendlies that some players like prefer not to go and play the friendlies. So it was a good opportunity for me. The manager said to me, he says to me, I've always been following you, but this is the right moment for you to come. I went, okay, we played a friendly with Jordan. We end up losing 3-0 away. And I played a few minutes in the end. It wasn't like more like an opportunity to prove myself. I think it was more that they thought, oh, this player deserved to at least represent Cyprus once. And like one of the fullbacks that I had to compete plays for Sampdoria now. So yeah, another one, he played for top league in Greece last season. The other one played for Apoel, the champions of Cyprus, at the moment that I had to go. So it was always a hard one position wise to go. But one cup is when you play for your national team only once you're called the ex-international or whatever. So that's a proud moment.
And what did it mean for your family to be able to know that your journey, which had been very difficult, you dropped down multiple divisions, you'd come back up, you'd moved country again, you'd made big sacrifices, and finally you got recognized to at least play for your national team. Were your family proud?
Listen, the people that know me and my family, they wasn't that surprised because they know how I am as a person. That if I want something, and that's one thing that I wanted to go to a national team. And earlier in my career, when I had some unbelievable seasons, it wasn't fair that I didn't go. And I had an ambition that if I'm playing abroad, because when you play abroad, they see it a little bit differently over
Oh,
here. If you see now the Cyprus national team, the starting 11, 9 out of 11, they play abroad.
okay. It's the exact same as Ireland, where I'm from.
Yeah.
It's almost like if you play in the domestic league, they don't take you seriously.
Yeah, because maybe the league is a little bit lower level than
Yeah.
other leagues too. So they say, they're playing a higher level, and they don't take it seriously to honor that thing. But the people that know my family, of course, they were buzzing for it and everything, but they just thought it was a matter of time for it to happen. It happened quite a little bit late in my career, say, so I was 28 or whatever then when I went. But yeah, that was it.
And in the last 5 or 6 years of your career, what has been kind of the main focus? Because as we get older, things change. You worry about injuries, you worry about stability, you worry about you've got a child now. So what changed for you in the last 5 or 6 years regarding your career and your development?
To be honest, I've started was it 3 years ago? 3 years ago, I've got my B license in coaching.
Okay.
So that's one thing that attracts me to follow a footpath in my career. And at the moment, last year I had a bad injury on my ankle and I had operation in March, and I'm still recovering. And I don't know as much if I'll be able to compete at a high level again. And do I want to do that? I mean, it's at one point my ankle, you could play again, but you might damage it even more. It's one of those. So at the moment, what I'm doing my rehab and I'm doing a bit of coaching with some kids and stuff like that. I'm without club at the moment. I didn't want to rush into, I had a few offers in the summer, but I said, first of all, it's my health.
Yeah.
And this is a good time for me to see the next steps in my life, in my career, because it, it's the hardest thing, I think, when you realize that you're going to stop doing what you love and get paid and have to find something else. And I love the everyday football life, being in a dressing room and dealing with footballers, dealing with coaches, dealing with everything. And that's one thing that I want to do continue. So my steps the last few years has been into that coaching. I'm waiting for to start my next coaching badge now. I do them down in England at St George Park with the English FA. Uh, I've been doing a few other courses in scouting, just trying to. I don't know exactly which role in football I want to follow yet, but that I'm going to stay in the game. I'm going to stay in the game 100%.
That's really good. And the thing is, you have experiences that are very varied. You have experience of playing in one of well, the Scottish Premier League is in the top 10 leagues in Europe. You have experience playing against massive teams like Celtic and Rangers. You've experience playing in other countries in different cultures. So there is a lot of things that you feel you could maybe share to younger generations, possibly.
100%, 100%. That's what people that because now I have different conversations with people and clubs regarding what's your next steps. I know a lot of people over here, and they the the feedback I get is that everyone would like to have someone with my experience near the club, or even if it's men's football, youth football. It's just about the right timing, I think, to find the right footpath to go through. I don't just want to run into a job and just say, I'm starting this, and end of the day, I'm looking for the right thing to do because at the moment I'm without club. I've got the time anyway, the spare time. I'm doing my rehab. I might see for January if I'm better to find a club. If not, maybe I'm going to have to make the decision to call it a day and focus on the next step, on my health too, because if I want to stay in the game as a coach and I play another 2 years and I wreck my ankle 100%, how am I going to do the coaching on the pitch and all that? So you have to put it on a scale and say, is it worth it doing playing another 2 years at this level? What am I going to earn? Is it going to change my life? No. Do I want to play? 100%, if you ask me, but it has to make sense.
Yeah. And a lot of players I've spoken to, a lot of chief executives I've spoken to said that it is, well, not every player has been as maybe as measured as you are. A lot of them, they just don't think about these things. They don't want to think about these things. So the fact that you're taking the time to make preparations is showing that you're maybe are the right kind of mind, the right kind of temperament for coaching and for development because you're not making rash decisions. You're making calculated, careful, methodological decisions that are balanced. And that's what coaches should be doing because you don't want someone making rash calls.
100%. But I would say still, I it was late for me to plan. I think players, younger players, with their teams helping them, their agents helping them, they have to plan earlier. I'm 33 in 1 month, I'm 34, and I've done a few my license coaching license, but I think around 26, 27, when you're at the peak of your career and you can see out what kind of level you're going to reach to play at, I think you have to start planning for the next step or planning at least to plan financially when you stop your career to be stable.
And what advice would you say to a younger version of you, although 15, 16 years ago when they got released despite captaining the under 21s at 18 years of age? What would you say to that person if you met that person now, or you met someone in a similar situation to yourself?
I do day by day. I speak with kids that I train some kids. I've got my own like one-to-one session academy at the moment. I train a few professionals, a few youngers. And what I said to them is like, it doesn't matter if this coach doesn't like you. There'll be another coach that might love you.
That's true.
So you won't be always the best player for someone, but for someone else who might be the most important, for other one, you might be the worst player and he doesn't play you. Okay, you're going to have to try and prove him that he's wrong, but you might not have the time to prove him. You might have to prove him in your next club.
Yeah.
So that's what I have in mind most of all when I say to the younger players that you get released, you don't play, you might go somewhere else and you might be the main man or the main player. So that's it.
And Well, one last thing is, do you have anything else that you think people need to know who are looking to go on a journey like you've been on to take the risks you've taken, to make the jumps that you've taken, and to get to where they got to, where they got to play for their country? What, what message would you have to someone who wants to go on a similar path?
It's going to sound a little bit like thing, but what I'm going to say is don't be afraid to um, come out of your comfort zone. So we see a lot of players in the UK, they end up playing in the UK and they drop down lower leagues, lower leagues. They might go abroad and play in the top league and earn 5 times the money, but they come for their at home try. And what I've found in my career that the countries I've been to, it's experience. It's all experience and all meeting people, different cultures and stuff like that. Come out of your comfort zone. Sometimes it's a risk, it's a gamble. Take it. Sometimes the first time it might not work out. Like I went to Bulgaria when I was 20, 6 months I was back. Second time I went to Sweden, 6 months I was back. Then I went to Scotland and I stayed there in the UK for 4 or 5 years. So it's just sometimes you go the first time. If it was someone else who would say, I went abroad, it didn't work out, I'm not going again, I'm staying in Cyprus. No, give it a second go. Sometimes you have to give it a go once, twice. It might work out it might never work out, but at least you didn't stay in your comfort zone and said, this is it. Give it a go. That's what I have to say that's the thing that I've done in my career. And I think if other people put that into their mindset, they'll make it.
Stelios, thank you so much for joining us at One Cap Wonders.
Thank you. Thank you so much.